Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how you can find inactive users in your Google directory and take the necessary steps to potentially clean those licenses up, the licenses which are assigned to those users. Now let's get it started. First, let's create a flow. You probably want to create a flow which runs on a schedule. You want to find inactive users once a month, once a quarter, once a week. So I'm going to configure this. Select the date, and I'll say, you know what, run it once a week at this date and time. First thing we want to do actually is to give it a good name. Find or clean up inactive users. Press save. First thing we want to do, we want to look for an action called search users. Search users. This is the action we are after. So basically, we want to go and return all the users in the directory, and then only identify which one has been inactive. Now, the way you define inactive may be different to the other companies, but we'll start with a simple version of it, and I'll show you how you can do the more advanced version of it. Let's configure the actions. I'm going to name this list users. I already have a connection. If you don't have one, click on the plus button and create a connection. Just a reminder, this user needs to have admin rights for this specific one. So you can configure all these settings here. You can configure a specific domain. For example, this is test.zenphi.com, org path, organization, customer ID, and you can return maximum number of the users you want to return. The maximum value you can put here is 10,000. So if your organization has got more than 10,000, again, I'm going to show you how you can address this as well. For now, I just keep it as 500. Now that I've got list users, it returns a list of users, and each user has got a set of properties. One of those is called last login time. Just for our scenario, imagine you want to find the users who haven't logged in the last 30 days. So first thing we want to do is calculate today minus 30 days. So let me go and get current date time. I get the value of the current date time. You can configure the time zone as well. And there's another action here at date time. Here, I want to say today minus 30 days. So I'm here. So go and get the current date time. And literally at minus 30 days. And so the output of it is we have got the date and time for 30 days ago. Now that we've got that date, the action we want to use is called query collection. This is an extremely useful action. Given a list, given a set of an array of data, it can filter the collection or the list and return the result. Here I go and say, when you went and returned all the users, go and get filter that. And this is the filter I want you to. This is the condition I want you to filter based on. So go and look at the last login time. You can filter based on all this other stuff as well, as you can imagine, as you can see here. But for our case, keen to use the last login time is less than today minus 30 days. Okay. Filter inactive users, or I just call it inactive users. You can take this further. You can group them by a specific like org path or a specific role if you want to, but for now, you just say that's good enough. Now, if I look at the output of this action, it's going to give us a subset of those users, all the users in our directory. And from here, once you have the actions, it's up to you how you want to approach it. You can go and loop through them and delete them one by one. You can do this. If I put for each, you can say for each inactive user, go and delete the user. Delete user, basically, if you want to. Configure it, but make sure to use the one which is within for each, this user ID or user email address. Go and delete that. I mean, before deleting, you can do all those Zenphi's powers at your disposal. Basically, you can go and say, before deleting them, maybe go and transfer the data, transfer user data. Transfer user data, before deleting them, go and transfer docs and calendar and all those things to another person. And that person could be the manager of the person, the inactive user. So you first can go and look up manager. I said look up manager. So what I can do, I can go and say, look up the manager of the user that I'm going to delete and transfer the data from the user. Let's make sure we select the right one. Transfer from here to the email address of the manager. And you can configure all those things. So just like that, you can create your logic. I mean, the other option is that you just go and dump it into a Google Sheet and send the Google Sheet to IT for review. So as you can see, really easily you can get all the inactive users in your organization. So the two more things I want to cover. One is what if you've got more than 10,000 users in your organization? And the other one is that what if your criteria for establishing someone is inactive is different to just the last login date? What if you want to see if they have created any document in the last 30 days? And if not, you deem them as inactive. So I'll come back to them one by one. Let's go here and say, imagine our company has got more than 10,000 users, because that's a max value I can put here, 10,000, 1, 2, 3. That's a max value. I cannot put, say, 100,000 here for all the limitations around the Google API. So we got, say, we put even 1,000 here, but we've got 100,000 employees. Now, this is here's when we step into an advanced concept of paging. That means we're gonna have to make a call multiple times until we're satisfied that we have searched through all the users. To do that, I'm gonna use something called loop. And I configure this as well to 200 times. I'm saying go and loop 200 times, and I drag in everything in here. Let me bring them in here, and don't worry, I'm going to explain everything. Oh, but what's happening? Okay, loop 200 times. 200 times. Okay, so now I start looping 200 times, and here what I need to do is every time I loop, the loop happens, I'm going to get 1,000 users, search through 1,000 users and return 1,000 users. But the way that it works, that I know that I've now done the first 1,000, I want to go to the next 1,000, sorry, from 1,001 to 2,000, and the next one is going to be from 2,001 to 3,000, is using this little thing here called next page token. So every time we get a response, it comes back this action, it returns this value. So we have to preserve the value and send it for the next request. To do that, we create a variable here called, I'm just going to call it next page token. So this variable, think of it as a bucket where you can put information in it and read information from. as a single value, save, and coming down here, I want to pass the next page token. But I'm sure you're asking the question of what we haven't added anything to next page token. And that's right. First time it's going to be empty. So it's going to return the first like 0 to like 1 to 1000. But once we have the result for the first time, I'm going to add the value here. So to the bucket, to that variable. So set variable. Here I'm going to go and set page token, set the value, and the value you're setting is the result of list user. You've got this value of next page token. So next page token var. So now that I've got it, so I've configured it. So it goes through all these actions that we've done here, whatever logic we've configured. Once it gets to the bottom of it, it comes back up, goes to the next round. But when it goes to the next round, this time, the next page token has got a value already. So here, it's not going to be empty anymore. But there's one more piece of logic we have to add here at the bottom. We want to check, because what if we've gotten to, we've returned all the users, and let's say 10,000 or 20,000 users, but we've configured to loop 200 times. So for that, we need to add another logic down here and just check in case if next page token is empty, that means there's no more users to search for, we're going to have to exit the loop. So I'm going to go here and say if next page token is null. So next page token is empty or null, doesn't matter. It goes to this branch, and here, what I want to do, I want to break free from the loop. Which loop I want to break from? This one. So let me zoom out a bit so we can see. I'm going to explain it one more time. So the trigger starts. We start creating. We create 200 loop for 200 times. Could be 100. Could be 250 times. And each time we loop through, first time we go and say go and get a list of users. But because the next page token for the first time is empty, it's going to return the first to whatever value you've got, 1,000 users, basically. And then it go here. However, if there are more users to return, the output will have a value for next page token. We set that value to a bucket, to a variable. And down here, we also check if it's empty. That means there's no more to return, just exit the loop. Otherwise, it continues down here. So next time comes for the loop, the second run, when it's passing the next page token, because it's got a value in it, so it's going to return 1001 to 2000, basically. So that way, you can return or loop through all the users in your organization. Even if you got 100,000 users, 200,000 users, you can easily do that. Okay, so that's on the paging side. Now, the other thing we wanted to establish was here, we said the inactive users. We said you only deem someone inactive if the user hasn't signed in the last 30 days. But as I said, in your organization, you may have a different policy. You may say, we consider inactive a user, for example, hasn't created or downloaded a file on Google Drive for the last 30 days. Whatever logic you've got in there. So the way to do that, I'm going to delete these. And look, it can be a mixture of them, but for now, let me just delete them. Actually, I want to delete this one as well because you already know this. So we've got another action called list activities. It's activities. I needed the for each. Let me put for each here. So now that you've got a list of users, you can go and loop through each user like the first 1,000 or second 1,000 users that you have gotten. And for each user, you can go and say, this user ID, making sure it's the one in the loop I'm selecting. And you can say, for this application and event, you can go into really detailed activities for users. So you can query all those users' activities for in these Google Workspace apps. And for each one of them, you can search for an event. For example, let's say Google Drive. And you can see a list of events here. These are all events. It's going to take a bit of time to load up on the left or right hand side. I can go and say, for example, if a user, let's say, hasn't downloaded anything in the last 30 days. So I'm after the download event name or the application name Drive. So I'm saying go and list out all activities for user in this application name, Drive, and the event name is download. I actually needed the date time. I should not have deleted that because it says from the start time, you can configure the same thing since 30 days ago, since 10 days ago. Down here, you can configure this, for example, because we want to say any, that means if there's even one, we consider that user as an active user. These activities. So when it goes and does that, next thing, I'm going to go and say if these activities, the number of events, number of activities, sorry, is greater than 0, anything that is greater than 0, that means has downloaded at least one file. Did it configure download? Yeah, has downloaded this one file. I mean, download really doesn't make sense. I'm going to change this to create. It's created at least one file. Has created at least one file. If the user has created at least one file, that means it's active. If it's not active, you can go and add it to a Google Sheet, add it, delete the user, do the similar thing that we were talking about, send it to the manager, users manager, and take any other actions that you may want to do on that. So there is a ton more you can do here. As I said, once you have established the user is active, what actions you want to take after that is really up to you and how your organization operates. And that's the beauty of Zenphi, because it enables you to continue doing that and easily automate. Hopefully you find this useful. I know this was a bit of an advanced topic, but if you need help with any of these things, please reach out to our customer success team. They're more than happy to walk you through this, help you get started. And the same, if you've got any suggestions or questions, please reach out. Well, thank you very much and have a great day.